Hey, folks.
Yeah, that tracks.
Really picked the wrong time to go to the store.
See it.
You the little participants, you'll see them.
And Bill, 'cause you're on
Okay.
North,
See at the
Bill,
bottom.
you're on North
Yeah.
Forest, right?
Oh, okay.
Bill,
Bill,
hey, Bill. Hey, you're on North Forest, right?
Mm-hmm.
So did you have to worry about flooding, like your
Did I what?
house? Like, did you worry about flooding with your house and everything? Or
If my house floods, you better have an ark. I'm far enough uphill,
Okay, so I know a lot of,
but the basement was
those
just
houses
soaking wet.
yeah,
Yeah, those houses at the bottom of the North Forest on the east end, that's gotta be the fourth or fifth time those houses have flooded at least. It just happens a lot more often now.
it's, well, I'm glad your house didn't flood.
Yeah, that's all I would have needed.
Right, exactly, I would.
Still
think that.
unpacking boxes and have to move out again.
Yeah, the second flood. A lot of the stuff that the folks in Forest pulled out. Caught up and flooded into the park. Pulling kitchen chairs out of. It's terrible.
Do you need like volunteers to help with your thing, or is it not safe enough to?
We had one guy that came out and he brought a lot of stuff out of the woods. But we were so busy just trying to get that bridge cleared, and there's
Yeah.
still all kinds of just huge logs and stuff jammed up in it that there's really not really sure how we're gonna get it out of there. But, Maplewood's 10 times the disaster that we had. It's big. We have a little bit of damage with the backstop and trash cans and split rail. And then the sill, but Maplewood, so many things. that
Their
buckled over
embankment
there.
hold up.
It did to a degree, but a lot of that riprap they just put in is, a lot of it's still there, but some of it's now kind of down in the creek. But surprisingly, their plants stayed in place.
Oh,
The live stakes stayed in place. That was surprising. But we have a lot of trees, pawpaws and trees that we planted along the banks that were bent over like this and need to be staked back up again, but we don't have any staff right now. We're barely keep our heads on water.
oh, funny,
Yeah, no pond, not funny at all. Just to keep the grass cut and the trash. Do you think we would want to start this meeting at 5? Can everybody do that? You can talk about it in the meeting.
Okay.
Since everyone seems to be able to get here. Get going. Yeah, I can try to be-
About the same for me.
like, I mean, I'm just really going all the time.
So do you make it at 5? Or is that?
Yeah, no, I can. I
Okay.
can make- we have to be here to get in the building at 5 anyway.
Okay. So if you want to talk about it and vote on it, I'll be all the beers.
And Jerry might be,
Yeah, you might be able
might
to,
have a problem.
yeah. Yeah, we'll take a vote here, but then I'll ask you
Okay.
if he doesn't get on. I can't even remember where we used to have the rec center. I guess that's not possible anymore because of the
Yeah, I don't think right now, maybe when they get, Wi-Fi, we might be able to have the meetings there. So I can ask Scott.
Cause that was open later, like,
Mhm. Yeah, we're gonna have to worry about the. doors locked. Right.
seemed like ages ago.
Lifetime ago.
Yeah.
Seven before times.
Yeah. BC.
BC.
Yeah.
Before COVID.
Oh, start to do roll call.
Yeah, I think so. I agree. All right. I'm calling this meeting to order. Laura, you want to do a roll call?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
That's okay.
Let's see. Annie, I know we know is absent. Bill
Yeah,
here. Emily is here. Sorry, I'm not, let's see. Joe,
here.
Ginger here. I'm here. Linda is here. Jerry is not here yet.
No.
Terry.
Here.
Corin
Up here.
and Yvonne.
All right, anybody want to make a motion to approve the minutes from last meeting? Thank you, Laura, you did a great job.
I so moved.
I will second. Okay, moving on to our agenda for today, we were going to have a visitor, Laura Rose, she's a Webster Groves High School parent. She was going to talk to us, just educating us about the environmental health impacts of synthetic turf. And she reached out to me this afternoon even and said she had COVID, so she's not coming. She asked if she could reschedule that, and I just wanted to talk to you guys about if you want to do that. Sorry. Does anybody have any? The reason she was coming, I felt like, was to educate us, right, about this issue. I don't know that much about synthetic turf. I don't know if any of you do. But there's not, there's not much of the Green Space Commission that we can do.
And the vote for the crop is
Tomorrow, right,
so-
right. So I didn't know how you guys would feel about that. I don't wanna.
I mean, I'm not thrilled about the synthetic turf, but we need the school needs the money for all the other stuff, so. I'm very torn, but
Well, is there, I mean, does anyone want to hear about it just for educational purposes?
was it Mossfield and then the baseball field at the high school. Like where the varsity players play.
And I think for us, it's a less of an issue of, whether that's good for the city or not, because it's gonna, it's a public vote, so we don't have any ability to do anything, but I didn't know if you guys wanted to just learn about it, or, I mean, that's.
I'm not opposed if she still wants to, but I think it's not as relevant
It's kind of
after
a
this
moot
month.
point.
Yeah.
But
We're voting on it tomorrow, so.
Right.
Okay, well, if we want to hear about it more, or once it goes in, if it goes in, yeah, we can maybe think about it again, but I think we'll just say no.
I think there's probably, and no, it's fine, I think there's probably still time to have input after the vote, because they'll have to redo the fields either way, whether it's synthetic or.
I think it's in the crop, though, it has to, doesn't it have to like,
It's synthetic for end of the crop, not just to redo the fields. Oh,
it's part of the. They made sure it was part of the wording,
got it.
so it can't be,
That's-
I mean, I just,
That's interesting.
I know kind of a lot about.
Somebody gave you got this last time. Yeah, that's her letter. Pretty awful. Yeah, and that kind of describes the, you know, the nugget of the issue
Yeah,
here.
It's
So,
not environmental. Oh,
yeah.
or economic, I mean. I've known places that use it and it just doesn't hold up either. It just seems like another waste of money.
Well, I'm guessing that if there's an, you know, an open space that the city does have, because the city really doesn't have any control over that.
We don't
right?
have, city doesn't have any control
Right.
over it.
So,
And I talked to one of the school board members and I'm not even clear that the school board has much control over it. It sounds like it's a school district decision.
okay. Well, I mean, maybe that's something we, on our own time, you know, we're all into educating ourselves about the environment, so we could look into that and just maybe be prepared if sometime in the future, the city does have a project like that and they ask us for our input. Otherwise, we will take it off the agenda. Okay. So then, on to old business. The first thing on old business is the schedule for secretary. And thank you, Laura. Again, I sent out an email today because I was confused, so I apologize about that. But we will need someone to step up for September and October because Annie is stepping back from Green Space Commission. She decided to do that. She reached out to Katie and let her know that she's doing that and so that Katie could advertise for that. But she wants to be part of things as long as we need her help. So she said she'd be available to partake in the board until we find somebody else.
Let me see if Jerry, can you hear us?
Are you there, Jerry?
Hold on.
Okay. Which view?
Try to
Well,
double click.
he just doesn't have a picture up.
Okay. I
You
thought
can do
normally
that
we were
speaker one. if you want. 10
You know, I'm here,
Okay.
Okay.
And if you want it to be us. you can
trying to
do
get
You-
my speaker.
Okay, we can hear you.
Can you lower the camera at all, or is that not possible? I can't see you, Carrie. I can see the very top of your forehead. Oh, there you go.
I don't think we can. I think that's way up. I will scooch over. Oh, a tall person. That's unheard of.
It might be adjustable. Shall I try?
Well, carefully.
That's good. Enough.
That-
Nice.
Oh, good.
Thank
What do you
you.
think, Jerry?
Thanks, Corin. Okay. So I need somebody from further down the road to step into the secretary position for September and October. Anyone besides Ginger or Laura or Linda want to do that? So I guess I'm looking at, right,
Yeah.
okay, thank you, Corin.
I may need a little bit of guidance. Somebody
Well, I'm
will,
always writing the second check, so.
maybe I'll talk to you after the meeting.
Yes.
So I'll
We'll do that
adjust,
anyway, so.
I'll adjust the schedule in the minutes for, or in the agenda for next time, so we'll.
Okay.
No, so we're moving Corin up to September, October, and then we'll shift everybody else up after that. Okay, any questions about that? Next item of old business is the Green Our City Initiative update. Can you hear me, Bill? Okay. I just wanted to I wanted to say thanks for everybody who came out to the July 14th event. We had really good turnout, better turnout than the first event, so that was good. We have a total of 15 residents who want to partake in the program. So that's exciting to me. That's a good first step. Things I was going to do, so I'm gonna get that list of residents to Todd and Andre so that they can mark those utilities for us. And then I think ask well, really Andre's opinion about the trees that we got from the list from Kirkwood Gardens. We got a list of available trees that they would have in the right size for planting this September 17th. So I'll ask Andre and maybe you to look at that list, Yvonne, and identify what type of tree from that list we could plant at each residence. And then hopefully, Joe, you and I can split up that list and call them and talk to them about,
The choices.
right,
Yeah.
or make a
Yeah.
we can make a recommendation, and if they want a choice, we can talk about that. So that's about where that is. I haven't made much headway on the inventory with Todd. We were gonna have a meeting to sort of review how the inventory, the online inventory that they have, how that's edited and utilized. He and I have been going back and forth a little bit about who should come to that meeting or be at that meeting, and I was gonna send out an invitation, but I never really heard back from Todd about who exactly, because I would like to have you there, potentially Emily or Dr. Peoples. I thought it would be good just for her to see the breadth of what that tool offers. We just want to put the data of our trees into that so that they show up in that inventory, and we can kind of keep track of them as we're going and adding more trees, so we can track how the program's growing. But I don't know if that's something we can physically do in the city's inventory, or if that's something that Todd would do. I'm just not sure who's editing that data over there. So he and I talked about having someone from Davie come and meet with a group of people to for everybody to get on the same page about what the inventory can do and how can we as a commission enter our data into it. So I don't know if maybe, Emily, do you think it would help if I pulled you into that loop? I mean, would you be able to breach the subject with Dr. Peoples, like if she would?
About it. Yeah, I don't know
wanna
anything
come?
at all about the inventory, but.
Okay, well, I
I'm
can.
happy to jump in and talk to her about it.
Okay, maybe Laura, do you have the inventory web address?
I'm sure I can find it.
Okay, I think it would be good to include it in the minutes of this meeting, and then that way Emily can go out there and take a look at
And
it.
is this
But
specifically like a Green Oak City inventory?
no,
or is it-
Joe, you want to give a little background?
So, where to start. You and I, what was it? Kind of worked a little bit. You helped me push Public Works, 16, 17. I was a Public Works employee and Webster resident, got the inventory, a trim grant for Department of Conservation to get the inventory of our street trees with the end goal of doing like replanting in the future. But we need to know what we had, where it was, the condition, so we knew how to like pick and choose what needed to come down, what needed to go in, where. So really the city basically gave us a bridge loan to get the inventory. And then once it was completed by Davie, we gave all the information to Conservation Department. They reviewed it and said, here's all your money back. So it was a free inventory. I mean,
Yeah.
now granted, it went over a little bit on the tree, so was it Steve Wiley approved himself and Joanne approved like an extra couple $1,000s to get it over the limit, capture all the city trees. So,
Okay, and these are all trees that are owned by the city?
on
or
city right of ways,
resident?
yeah, city, just the
Public
right of way,
right-of-way.
public right of ways throughout the city of Webster.
So they're the responsibility of the city, and the inventory is the city's inventory,
They own the inventory.
right? So, for us to be able to add our information, and that would be ideal, but we kind of need to
Yeah,
explore how
because
to
the
make that
trees that we're
happen.
planting on the 17th are going into public right of ways.
Right, and they will also be the city's responsibility down the road.
Got it, okay. Yeah, I'm happy to.
Well, that would be great. So maybe I can send an email
follow up with Todd and Andre, and I'll copy you and Emily.
Okay.
And just kind of ask the question again, when can we meet? Who's on the list of invitees? I'd like Emily and Dr. Peoples to come. Okay. The other update for that is I reached out to, well, I don't know if you saw it today,
I did.
Emily,
I
the
did see that.
email to Emily and Jen about hopefully finding us some buckets and maybe creating, I don't, if you guys were at the July and June meetings, you might have seen the little magnet that Forest Relief had created. And it's something that they give to the people who steward their trees, and it's just a reminder of like how often to water. And I'll share a picture right now, but I think that would be a really good thing to have for them. So I was asking Jen if that's something the city could make, or if we would need to purchase, or so that's where that is. And she's on vacation this week, so we might not hear back from her until next week, I would imagine. Here's this, or if you want to pass that around.
Oh, yeah, that's cool.
And it's about 4x4. Just a good reminder. And planting date is still September 17th. And that's what I know at this point.
So Danny is gonna have what you think you need.
Yeah, he looked like he had a pretty good list of availability of the size trees we needed. So I don't, and we don't need that, you know, we only need 15 of them, so I think that's a good number. I don't think we'll have a problem with finding those. We might even be able to find that Forest Relief. Did you have a question, Jerry?
Yeah, do you need help on September 17th?
Definitely.
Okay, are you gonna do like a sign up or email or?
Yeah, well, sure, but if you want to come, you're on call. I figured, you know, as many of you guys would come as possible, and then we've got the stewards. And I do want to do something on greenkeepers. And that might even be out there already.
I think there's some dates up there.
Okay,
So the sooner you can give me details, where to meet, how many people we're looking for, we can do sign up, so we don't end up with 100 people.
and
boy, that
can-
would go fast, wouldn't it? Yeah,
Is that number 15? Is that good? I mean, is that what you're expecting or hoping for the first half or? is that a good-
well, no, I mean, I hoped for 200, but. But, you know, I was talking to Mark Gruber from the Missouri Department of Conservation, and he said 10%, you know, if you had 20, he said that's a really good number for an initial planting. So we're under 10, right? We sent out 200 invitations, but I still feel like that's a good number. It's more than, you know, 1 or 2, and it's our first go around. He was also at the meeting, either in July or June, said, you know, once you start the initiative and you start planning and you get a few people in a neighborhood with trees, other people are gonna notice, and the word will spread that it's happening. So I feel good about it.
The website for the inventory is Webster Groves Mo. Treekeepers software, treekeeper software. Software.com.
Webster Groves .mo.
It's Webster Groves Mo.
Okay.
Treekeeper software. Altogether.com.
Okay.
Tree keeper singular.
I'll be in. Hold on. It's a love search.
Yeah.
Stump there now.
Good to know.
So out of the commissioners here. I know Joe is capable of directing a group of volunteers to plant a tree, and I would feel comfortable doing that. Yvonne is gonna be out of town, or I'm sure she would be in charge of a group. I don't know. I know, Corin, you went to the workshop and you saw what needed to happen. Would you feel like?
I've done a lot of tree plantings. so
Okay.
I could probably handle it.
Probably Andre.
Yeah, I would think Andre too. And myself,
I mean, I'll be available.
do you think, is it something you would feel comfortable leading a group?
Can I help?
Yeah,
wrangle
You
the
two people, it's gonna be
fifth
one-on-one.
graders?
Yeah, well, if we have 15 trees and, you know, 4 or 5 people, then that's 5 or 6 trees
Is this
for your group.
How big
in
an
the
area is
workshop.
this gonna be scattered over, you know, yet?
Yeah, it's really the southwest corner of the, I don't have it with me, southeast, excuse me, corner of the city. It's not a huge, I mean, it's not the whole city.
No, I know it's not the whole
Yeah.
city, but I know, you know, like 5
It's like the,
blocks
it's
or
like the edge of
20
the
or.
area, kinda,
It's probably more like 20 blocks.
like over by Acre Road School.
It's not 15 people who live next door to each other.
No,
That would
it's
be
not
nice.
that.
So on the Greenkeepers post, if I could have that info by the middle of August, I'll give it to Stacy Arnold, or I'll prepare the blast. And Stacy reviews it, and then she says it's okay to send out, and I'll have you linked in at that time, because when the time comes, she'll send you a list of the people that signed up.
Oh, okay.
And you might be able to see it when you go online and look at it. It's a lot of it, to see how. Sure, I should give you this.
Okay. You know, the other person who might lead is Tessa,
Okay.
so I can talk to her and see if
I
she.
planted a bunch of trees. I just don't look very.
I know that Tessa's planted tons and tons of trees, so. Well, and if you guys, you know, wanna be there for moral support or, you know,
I'll be
just
there, I just don't, I don't feel like I
Yeah.
should lead.
Okay, great. Well, that sounds like a plan. I'll create a flyer. And I'll talk to Tessa.
So the event of rain, just plug through. I know Yvonne would,
Yeah, you get rained on.
Right,
and trees get watered, it's
Not
a
rained out.
win-win, right?
right,
It has to be
Unless
like
it's like
the
a
rain we
thunderstorm.
had last week.
Right.
Like,
right. Yeah, and I mean, if we want to, we could leave some flex, you know, we could have a start time of 10 or something, but leave some flexibility in our day, so we could wait for a storm to pass and then do it at noon or something.
We're gonna dig these holes by hand.
Yes,
But it's.
not huge.
But if you only have big trees.
And the, you know, the homeowner is gonna be there, we're gonna find out how many people they're gonna have, we'll have at least a few people on each dig team, so I think it'll go.
Is everyone gonna have their own tools?
I'll have mine.
You need great- you need
Probably need
greenkeepers tools.
greenkeepers
Okay.
tools.
So how's this, I mean, we're gonna meet again as GSAC before this thing. We can go
That's
over the
true.
Final
I can
details.
have that already.
It seemed that it'd be 3 or 4 of us assigned to each home.
Yes,
And
right, that's what I'm thinking. So once I find out who the leaders are, then we can, I can sort of. Pool the volunteers, and Joe and I will talk to the residents about their tree and then find out how many people they're gonna have, because some people might have kids that went up, and if. You know, if there's 3 or 4 people at a house, we don't need to send 4 more people there. So we'll work,
cheer people on, I'd be happy to.
bring a towel, like they're in the corner of the boxing. You can do it.
Are you meeting on site, or are you gonna have everybody meet?
I'm thinking meet somewhere.
we can meet at the school parking lot or something and then.
You think we have to ask the
No.
school for that? No.
Well, the only thing is,
Half of us
there
are
could be an
kids
event.
at the school,
So, you might be better off just, you know, that I could give the rec center heads up and meet at the rec center. parking lot.
That wouldn't be a horrible location.
That's my
either.
bet.
Southwest Park. if there's no ball games going on, possibly that. might be
Either
good
one, I
stuff.
think would be
I think
fine.
rec center, I think majority of the trees, I think, are gonna be in the Egger.
That Yorkshire Hills
Uh,
area.
Okay,
that-
Every road.
Yeah,
okay, so
so rec center. probably be-
logistics,
Or Blackburn.
I do,
tools.
Rec
gloves,
center.
I guarantee I would be
Picture of
fine.
Jared.
to be-
Let's do that, okay, then there's bathrooms, and we know the building's open, and then,
Blackburn.
Okay.
no. Rec center.
Rec center.
What'd you say, no?
You realize Jerry was on screen.
Oh.
Is there gonna be another session? Originally you talked to from the July 14th. Was there gonna be another one in August?
No, I don't think so. I just don't think there's enough time to do all that, and I'm satisfied with the number of 15, so I think.
Yeah.
Cause it's been a bit of phone calling and emailing coordination stuff, and I would like to run with the number we have. And that seems very doable, and I really like it to be very successful, so. Okay. I think that's enough. I think that's it for the Green Our City. So I'll email Emily, Todd, and get that sort of inventory discussion rolling. I'll create a flyer and get that to you, Van, ASAP for the planting day
And
volunteers.
it can just, it doesn't even have to be a flyer. If you don't want to, it just needs to be
Specifics.
location, time, what to bring. And then if we have a rain out, what that protocol will be.
Okay.
So people aren't gonna wanna work, if it's pouring down rain, so you'll have to figure out a cancellation. I usually on greenkeepers, I'll say you'll know by 5 o'clock the day before if it's canceled. For the next day, but you would have to let Stacy know. So she could- unless she wants to give you admin controls of greenkeeping. She won't. You don't want to use it for good.
Is that a standalone website?
It's with the Deer Creek Watershed Alliance. They host it for us. I'd like to have Webster Groves be able to do that at some point, but I don't know if we do. or not. We would have that capability. If you
That
go
would be pretty
online and look
awesome.
at it, just sort of see
Yeah.
what they do for us. And if that's something that we're working towards PR wise here, it'd be great if we could host it on the site. We have a lot more control over that. Not that they haven't done a great job in helping us do all that. Plus,
Oh, they've been.
the one good
wonderful.
thing about it is they have a broader audience if we want to blast it to a bigger group. But typically I only blast it to the 200 plus people on our list. If we move it to the city to host it, then I can always let them know and they'll put it on the calendar. Yeah.
Okay. The next item is the Pollinator program update. I know that, Linda's been working on some coordination about a site, so that's exciting. So do you?
I did an outline if I can show that.
Sure,
Okay.
share away.
Let me see how this works. Do. All right, can you see that?
It's coming up.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make it full screen. Tell me if that's okay. Is that
That's
good?
good. That's good.
Better? All right,
This
so
slide.
there's an
is-
outline. I've talked with Yvonne and Webster Groves Women's Garden Club and also had what used to be the Men's Garden Club. And so we have lots of projects and possibilities, and Linda's connected with the Hawken House and their garden, the herb garden. What discussed with Yvonne and with Carrie and with Linda through various emails and stuff is establishing a regular pollinator patrol. That was, I think Carrie suggested that. I like that. From our interested, ready to volunteer volunteers, there's people who are, asking to help. So we can have a list of regulars and then post these on, post a short description on the, of the current 4 to 5 pollinator garden install projects for late summer, fall, with details, and then have people register, collect names from the Greens Creeper, that link, and then get the list from Yvonne, should be a Mobot, and then email the group separately from Green Space Advisory Commission as projects are ready, and to confirm the numbers for each. So projects, seems like the very first one will probably be the Ivory Crockett Park, late August. Split rail install and prep the bed in late August, and then late September do the planting. And about 10 volunteers would be needed. And Bon said MDC is given a verbal yes, waiting for the official for $5,000. And this project would need to be done by the spring of 2023, which would not be a problem. So this is,
That $5,000 is a grant, right? That you-
Yes, yeah, and it's a little bit more than that, but that's a conservative.
I round things.
Okay.
So 1,600 square feet in a triangle west of the pavilion. And Yvonne, feel free to jump in on any addition, anything you want to say.
Okay, no, I think that one's accurate.
Okay, and then the Webster Groves City Hall is a long bed, late fall, ideally by the back door. Yvonne applied for the Wild Ones grant for $450 of plants. She estimated to be about $650. And it's also, we said, I think you said we have the money in our green space budget for that if needed to supplement.
No, not green space. And our regular budget, if we have money left over from the Ivory Crockett project and we need to cost share, I could talk to my boss about cost sharing, but it's such a low amount of money. I think Wild Ones will fund the whole thing.
And do you have an estimated number of volunteers? Just a rough estimate.
I think probably about 10 or 15 volunteers. Probably sometime late September
Okay,
or next spring, depending on when we get approval.
all right. I decided to do this in a Word doc so I can update it while we go along.
Nice.
Then sorry. The next one is I call them Main Street, because we have Main Street in front of Straub's and Main Street in front of Dewey's. I don't know if that offends anybody not on that street. So for fall 22, a Bradford pear tree removal and pollinator plants install in their place from an NDC trims grant. About $8,500, and Yvonne said she hopes to hear this week. Also needs to be finished by spring of 2023. And Yvonne, do you have an estimate on, the removal is gonna be done by the city, right?
Correct.
Okay.
So there's now a catch. There's now a hold up on that. I met with Mark Gruber and he said to blame it on him. And he would really like to see structural soil. Look at, Carrie. So I have to go back to the drawing board on that, because what that means is, yes, the trees can come out, but all of the sidewalk would have to come out. We put in structural soil and then we put in new pavement and build the pavement around creating these tree wells for the trees and then the pollinator garden. So I have to dig into that. I would say that would be more like a next spring endeavor by the time I would be able to do all that research and put together a plan for that.
All right. I just changed that to holding pattern.
I still want to do it. I didn't throw in the towel, but
When would you need drawings?
I knew. I said, I know a landscape architect.
When would you need
And he said I didn't need anything real detailed. I just need to, Buckeyes, I think is the specs for structural soils. And he said he would just need to know how much and all of that, and then I have to put Public Works out there to redesign how that sidewalk's gonna go. And so,
Well, we can talk later, but if it works out right, I mean.
okay. I think realistically, it should maybe, if we get approval, maybe they can take the trees out this winter, and then it could be a next spring plant.
Well, when would they need the drawings to be approved?
I-
Is my question. But I mean, that's, you don't have. to
It's a
answer right now.
rolling cost share, so it's year round.
Oh, awesome.
So if we don't make that deadline for the spring, you get a year to approve and put it in. So if we don't get it to him till later, then it, we just have to have it done.
Okay.
Within a year's time, so.
Cool.
Anyway. I'll get to work on that in about a month or two.
If it helps, if you need architect engineering, my wife's dad could do it. He's retired, but he did the walk through Blackburn, the whole sidewalk,
Oh,
the
okay.
whole path and all that.
Okay, yeah, maybe between him and Carrie, I just do kind of a design that is ADA. It gives us enough bed space. And then
Okay.
also, we're gonna have to have concrete where the light poles are all along the street too, so there's some logistics to deal with.
And an interesting component of this is, Bon said the speaker, you have to have a speaker for community outreach. So Bill Bradley from Trees, Forests and Landscapes could give a talk, and that could be now 2023. We can have a talk.
I have a quick question about the Bradford pear removal project, if that's okay. It says pollinator plants installed, and I'm absolutely all for it. Are we also getting some trees to replace them? Okay, great.
Yes, that's the whole reason. It's a perfect scenario to put canopy trees.
Great, great,
And we were gonna put black gums in.
nice.
And
Okay,
so we want. The whole thing with Public Works is to buy into the structural soils is you put that in because it won't heave your sidewalks over time. So we should get buy-in with that. It's just a matter of them having time and how much it will cost to put in the pavement.
No, that's perfect. Thank you.
Because before they were just gonna close in the tree boxes with the concrete and then just make angle cuts to make beds bigger, joining that bed by straws. But now we're talking about taking everything out. They want 36 inches of structural soil.
Nice.
And so that's gonna be an expense and it's not in the budget. So, but Mark Gruber from MDC said he thought our labor would suffice as our cost share. That they would actually, if we use structural soils, that normally they just fund plants, but they would actually fund that.
It's part of the grant.
Mhm. So I just have to revise our
Well,
request.
that would be awesome, I think.
Yeah, and he
then-
said it would be a showcase
Right.
that we're doing
Yeah.
this. It would be a really big deal. In the industry to say that this is a part of Main Street and the structural soils and.
Like a little. Sign.
You need to have a flat explaining what it all is.
So this would be the state of the art of this type of thing.
And then maybe we can do that in other
Mhm.
areas of town.
Okay, thanks, Jerry.
I didn't hear what kind of trees would replace.
Black gum,
Got it.
black gum.
Okay, and then next one in front of Dewey's MSD Project Clear Grant. Just submitted 9,000 total, 3,000 for the Webster Road Street Department. And that's 6,000 remaining for the rest of the grant. So that was just submitted and I didn't catch the time. What was your hopeful timing on this one?
That's an ongoing rolling grant, so there's no deadline. They did acknowledge that they received it, but I have not heard anything. They said leave like 6 weeks to even have them look at it. But that could end up being where they come back and say, well, we would want structural soils there. It's a pollinator garden. So I think we have the numbers and they are accurate for what we want to do.
All right. And then with Rui Park, communicating with Karen Holla, President of the Women Garden Association, who, you know, was there last month, and then meeting with Jan Chamberlain, Amy Hansen, who's Master Gardener, and since it's been certified for Master Gardener training, I think they already have a one work day in the planning. And then Martha is the civic chair, and they're just interested in adding more native plants to the butterfly garden, and they have a budget for this. They just don't have the volunteers, as you know. And they were originally thinking of diminishing it, but if we can really have a permanent crew, I don't, you know, go there maybe 2 to 3 times a year. I think that'd be a significant help. Also talking with Mike Tierney from the Webster Garden Club and seeing exactly what they want to do. So this is we're hoping maybe to do something late August, but probably more likely September. But to put this on Greenkeepers and get the you know, a number of regular volunteers to help for this project. for
Yeah,
maintenance.
Jerry, if you pick out a date with Karen
Mhm.
and a time and the logistics, I will send it out on Greenkeepers.
Right.
And it can be before Make a Difference Day, or it can be a Make a Difference Day project.
Oh. Huh. What do you all think of that? Just having it be make a difference.
I'd be cool with Make a Difference Day.
Yeah.
Done this fall.
Get a lot of pictures.
I'd be down with
Okay.
that.
All right, and that's it for what I had on the projects, and then if anybody has any comments on that, and then Linda's gonna talk about the herb garden. One other thing, just to keep in mind for I was just down, hold on, I'm just showing a picture.
Can you send us that outline you just made?
Yeah,
So we
yeah.
don't-
Well, and it should probably go in the minutes too.
yeah. Should I, if I send it right now, can somebody download the link or just email? I'll just
I
email
would-
to you.
Email it.
Just email it to make sure Laura gets it.
Okay. And just for future projects, I was just down at the bottom of Deer Creek, as I saw Vaughn last week, I think that next morning, Wednesday morning. And this Deer Creek field, but this garden has gotten overgrown. I don't know what you call this exactly. What do you call this?
It's a mess.
Why? I know.
Yeah.
And
Turn around.
You
and I
know-
remember, and I helped with the original planning. We had lots of wine cups and smaller stuff,
Yeah.
but just thinking of, you know, things for 2023, things we can target or just advertise. I know the people in that street would appreciate any beauty right now, but
Yeah, I think it would be a prime spot, but it would be like any of these other pollinator gardens. Parks
maintenance,
cannot do it. We're down to 5 people now.
right?
And it's overwhelming, and we have at least 50 to 80 other properties we take care of in the city that are not parks, and we cannot do it. We're breaking the camel's back. And
Is,
so if you guys wanted to do it, that's actually a right of way area, but Parks has somehow ended up with taking care of all these right of way areas. And we cannot do it. We can't do it well. And it's below our standards to let these places go to what you just showed a picture of. I mean, it's heartbreaking, but we do not have the manpower to
And
take
it's
care of
also
it.
the point that it's.
And it's
This
certainly,
volunteer team goes
yeah,
well.
yeah, and if
Can
if
have
people want to
regulars.
do it and they take it and they run with it and the city supports them by hauling off the debris or
Mhm.
bringing wood chips. Or if we have one of my goals, which we've been able to start collecting seed in some of these areas, that we can provide a seed source or cuttings or, something to help these gardens. But the actual maintenance, we cannot even keep up with the parks at this.
Sure.
point.
Well,
We're-
Bill and I should lead that effort since it's our street, right, Bill?
Yeah, because my goal for that spot was to dig everything out and put trap rock in it. Just to have it not be
Put what
the eyesore that it is.
Trap, rock.
But it's not even our spot.
Yeah.
We
Right.
somehow got roped into all these extra right of way areas all over town. And we have 20 parks to take care of, Element 44, City Hall, Lockwood Median, Kirkham Median, and 60, 70, 80 other properties. I mean, it's astonishing. And we can't do it well, and we just lost our mowing contractor. So I don't know, it's really hard. And so.
So maybe this could be a win-win and help solution for some places. If you
So
get neighborhood buy-in and
can't
Yeah.
create any more gardens that Parks has to take care of because we can barely take care of what we have.
So who's gonna maintain the pollinator and Dewey's and Straubs?
It's all gonna have to be volunteer.
Yeah, so we
Yeah,
really need to think about not just our commitment level to maintenance, but like long term, right? Like who's coming after us? And making sure that this network is in place before we start adding anything.
yeah, because Parks has been doing the who comes after us for a very long
Right.
time. And we no longer have the manpower to do it. We also do all the business district plans, all the hanging baskets, hundreds and hundreds.
well, I'm hopeful that this pollinator control team can become a permanent fixture. So even as some of us leave the Green Space Advisory Commission, that would be permanent. And people really start to build and take ownership of areas around the community and chipping in. I can't imagine it would take more than 3, the bottom of Deer Creek, let's just say, or any that's behind City Hall, more than, what would you say, about 3 times a year, with twice a year, 4 times a year?
I think if you're not hitting that once a month,
One,
at
okay.
least during the growing season. That would be the beauty of if the city created a volunteer corps in-house. Because then we could be. And I don't even know what that would look like, but if we had a solid core that these events popped up on a calendar and you signed up that you're gonna be there. And these are these rolling pollinator garden cleanup events that happen and then becomes almost self. Guided
I-
work.
I think if we get a list of 25 permanent volunteers, I can help run guarantee going through them to make sure 10 people show up at once a month at every event that we need.
Yeah, I think
Maintenance.
Kirkwood has something like that. I don't
Yeah.
know how they do it on their own. This is just what was available to me before the city invested in having their PR person and all the things that we've been working towards in the city to be more high tech and more involved. So
Since I can approach the garden club. There's the women's club and then what used to be the men's club, but that's now men's club is multi-sex club. And they're about the same age and there are people there that are interested. So that's, I will just liaise on what you told me. I mean, I think people are just they're eager to just join something that they'll be notified to show up on Wednesday to help clean up. I think that would, they would like.
yeah, we can use greenkeepers for the time being, but I think if the city can do it.
Yeah,
it
what
might
is
be
the
important.
Kirkwood's thing called?
Well, they have their greenkeepers as park keepers. I
Park
think.
keepers, yeah.
But what entity ultimately does it fall to? Is it city? Is it?
Yeah, they
Kirkwood Park?
have like a volunteer coordinator for the park keepers.
And so their website is through the parks. City.
It's through the city. I don't know if it's specifically parks or not.
Right, but through the city.
Yeah,
Okay.
There's something to shoot for.
that would be great.
Well, I think Linda and I very hopeful that there'll be a permanent core of volunteers.
If we just create the mechanism of communication, I think people would. Because the garden club, the one I've been involved with, is an awful lot of older people who are retired. And this is something that they would do. There's a lot of master gardeners in Webster. And they would be thrilled to do a project here instead of driving to Ferguson or someplace where the master gardeners are usually assigned to go and get their hours and hours is a big thing. Certified. So I can promote that when we have the meeting next week, see what, reaction would be.
Awesome. All right, Linda, you want to go ahead with the talking house?
I met with Jenny Fagan, who organizes the herb garden over at Hawken House. And that's run by the Herb Society, which apparently is a big deal. It's older than Webster. It's just this archaic mechanism. She had this idea that we could liaison, we could use the little garden as a demo garden. And I went and met her there, and it's really quite neat. She's integrated things that are not native, but zinnias and all the pretty stuff that we think of with garden with the herbs. And she said she's pretty much been taking care of it herself. I think she would like volunteers to come take care of it. But she also suggested maybe we could do an evening talk of just explaining how to integrate the plants. And then she could do her spiel about the benefits of herbs and all those.
Right.
It's kind of, and then we could kind of talk back and forth. But one of her goals is to make people aware of that garden and the Herb Society. So we all help each other by just promoting each other.
Yeah.
And she thought she could do something at the end of August. She's out of town right now. If we were thinking about doing some kind of meeting, but we'd have to jump on it quickly because it takes a while to put flyers up.
Yeah, we could hold the pavilion for you if you want.
Yeah, and if you're in Southwest Parks at like 6 o'clock in the evening, and somebody could do it, she could do a talk.
Do you want to do it like the last Thursday of August, since we were bowling with that?
I'll have to talk to her. She's reachable by.
Okay, so when's she coming back to town?
I think in a couple of weeks, but she's responsive by her phone.
Okay.
That would be the 25th of August.
That's the first of this week.
Yeah, it's the first week of school.
Yeah, it is.
It's not very much time. And if we could get, I noticed that the print calendar is back on paper. Print edition. So if we really play our cards right, we can get a little notice. That really helps get people here. Because the flyers and stuff just don't reach as many people.
Yeah, right. So how do you want to move forward? Do you
Well,
need-
why don't I get hold of her and find out if she's interested and nail down a date and then. And I want to make sure that we know what she's going to talk about, just. Because we told her the big thing is, for pollinators, of course, as we were standing there talking, it's just pollinators flying all over the place, so. But it's a nice example of making it look pretty. I think most people think pollinators it's baggy and unkempt. So. It's an opportunity, and I'm sure her people would be interested in our pollinator patrol too.
Okay.
I'll call her.
Okay, any questions about pollinator stuff? Birthdays? Then the next item on our agenda for old business is just upcoming events as a reminder. So we could potentially have something at the end of August, we'll know from Linda soon. So I guess that, send Yvonne any emails and she'll
yeah.
keep us
I
up to
wanted
date.
to nail this down this week.
Yeah, and then September 17th is planting day. Mark your calendars, it's especially Ginger and Joe and Corin. And I'll keep you posted.
And maybe someone can come by and get their greenkeeper's tools
Yeah.
before that.
When do you go out of town?
Go on the Labor Day.
What is that? Is that September 5th? Because that affects our next meeting then.
Oh, yeah,
Okay,
at least on my calendar says Labor Days.
okay, so I'll make a note of that. So we'll probably get it before.
I guess worst case scenario.
Or I can talk to Mike.
So will the next meeting be the 12th?
We didn't decide yet. We were still talking about upcoming events. We'll discuss that in a minute. So September 17th is the tree planting, October 23rd. Has that been
Oh,
finalized?
wait, I'll be back on the 14th. I'll be.
Okay. Has Make a Difference Day been finalized? Do you guys know? that?
It's usually the third.
So we
Saturday
think that's
night.
October the 23rd.
Mhm.
Okay,
Well, that would be the 4th, because the 1st is on a Saturday, right?
Oh, okay.
correct.
Well. The
Well, that's
person
a
who
Sunday
takes-
anyway.
Takes care of that.
Oh, is it a Sunday?
No, no, no.
Oh, okay.
I wrote 23rd,
Oh,
which
okay,
is a Sunday,
Okay.
so that is not
So-
correct.
I wonder, it might be the 21st. then. I'll find out. I don't think.
Or the
22nd.
22nd, yeah, sorry.
Well, does Jen know, is that a Jen Starkey thing? or-
He might, yeah, I
Oh,
don't know
she's
who's
not
taking
anything.
it over.
Okay, so tentatively October 22nd. And we've got, we have some things we want to do that day. Okay, so mark your calendars for that. I did reach out to the big muddy guy. I didn't get a hold of him, but I emailed him and I called him again today and left a message, so. I said maybe a float in November. So hopefully he'll get back to me.
Was September 10th an original planting day?
We said 10th or 17th.
Okay, that's why.
And
I
we
was
landed, we said
confused.
17th would
Okay.
be better. You're good, yay. Okay, and then December, we'll have a holiday something probably, and then we'll start planning some events in January. But we're. Okay. I have no new business. Does anybody have anything they want to talk about, maybe next time to bring up that needs to go on the agenda for next time?
Vote on the time.
Oh yeah, Jerry's here. Jerry, can you hear us?
Uh-huh.
Since everybody is getting here by 5 because the building is closing, or the doors close at 5, we were wondering if we could move the meeting to 5 o'clock. Are you able to do that?
It's getting worse. Parks Board, we're with 6 o'clock. We moved them to 6:30, so because
So later
I-
is better for you.
yeah, but I mean, we're not gonna move it to 6:30, so I'll do the best I can. I
Well,
run a
let's,
big lab. It's
well-
unpredictable because I run a big lab, so
yeah,
it's hard to get out early.
yeah, I guess if we have the Zoom option, I think that's always good for everyone, just in case they can't make it in person. And we just, briefly talked about maybe, once the rec center has Wi-Fi, maybe moving back to that location where we originally had these meetings. And maybe potentially the time to go back to 5:30 or something like that. Okay, so we'll just leave it where it is right now.
If you all want to move it to 5, to me, 5 or 5:15 is no different, so might as
Okay.
well move it to 5.
Is anybody opposed to moving it to 5 o'clock? Okay, let's do 5. We'll be done 15
Okay.
minutes early.
I will get that adjusted.
Okay, so, any back to the agenda items, anything, we need to add for next time?
We need to adjust for Labor Day officially.
Yes.
Joe, do you want to talk about something?
No, I'll save for next time. Save for next time.
Well, let me know if you want me to add it to the agenda for next
Yeah.
time. Okay, then updates from Emily, if she has any updates for us.
Sure. I think probably the biggest thing with council right now is the charter review advisory board. So that deadline was gonna be last Friday and it got extended a couple days. So I think it's now the third, I think it's now Wednesday. So if anyone's still interested, there's still time to apply. It'll be a nine-member board to take a look at our charter and see if we want to make any changes. Those proposal changes would go to council, and then any that council agreed with would go on the ballot for the voters to approve. So those interviews start tomorrow. So that process is starting, and that's probably the biggest thing right now.
Anybody have any questions for Emily? Okay, Don, do you have any other updates for us?
As Rich would say, you've said enough, Yvonne.
Oh, Rich.
Rich. All right, so our next meeting, when do we want to have that? Do we want to try and move it a day, or do we want to move it to the next week, or? Want to just move to the 12th?
I say the 12th. I mean, Tuesdays are.
Okay, I'm fine with the 12th. And that'll be right before our event, so we can get any finalizing details done at that time. Okay, so we're gonna do September 12th at 5 o'clock. In person here or on Zoom. Excellent. And Corin will be taking minutes.
Yes,
Thank you.
yes, I will.
Okay. All right. I would like to adjourn the meeting. Anybody want to move to adjourn the meeting?
I'll make a
Motion.
motion to adjourn the meeting. I'll make a motion to adjourn it at 6:15.
All right. Anybody want to
I'll
second?
second it.
I second.
Spirit. I guess I should have made a motion on the vote thing, shouldn't I? I'm not very good at that. But we voted. We're all good.
We're all just rolling with the.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. Talk to you soon, Jay.
All right. Thanks, Carrie. Thanks, Yvonne. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.
Oh.
It'll be hard to choose a second outside. Yeah.